What's up, everybody? I'm going to be doing a new series with Soave over the next few weeks called 4 Tips I Wish I Knew When I Started Producing. So these will be great tips for beginner producers or anybody that's looking to speed up their workflow a little bit. So let's dive right in with my first tip, and that is to start with a template. So let's jump right in and start from the beginning. Having a solid template is more than just a time saver. It's part of creating consistent sound, in my opinion. When you are building your name as an artist and you want to have a unique, identifiable sound, creating a template is a way to keep your sound always consistent, starting from the same spot, mixing the same way, and it really allows you just to focus on the creative aspect a little bit more. I think it just saves so much time and allows you to just skip a few barriers into actually making a song. So we can jump right in here and see how I have created my own template. I'm using Logic Pro here, but you can make a template in any DAW, really. This is my own personal template. I have actually a few different templates that I use for different genres. If I was to make future bass or deep house, or I'll just create a new template. And as I learn new techniques, I create updates to these templates. So my most current one is the 2023 one. Also have templates if I'm just mixing vocals or just mixing stems. I mean, if you really think about it, if it takes you 30 minutes to create a template, but then it saves you 30 minutes on every single song that you start, if you're anything like me, I have hundreds of songs. That's, hundreds of hours that are being saved. So it's really just a no-brainer if you ask me. As you look at my personal template here, I have them all split out into different groups: drums, bass, synths, sound effects, and vocals. In my own personal music, I use the very similar elements in every song, kick, snare, claps, percussion, and hi-hats. And each one of these, as you'll see here, I just have on almost all of them an EQ to start, which would cut out any frequencies that aren't needed for that specific element. So like a snare drum, I have an EQ starting a little bit higher because you don't want it conflicting with the kick. Cut out some frequencies, and then I put in a compressor after it because you don't really need the compressor compressing frequencies that aren't even going to be used. So that's why I have the compressor after the EQ. And then I have another EQ after it, which then I'll add to the sound. Each of these different compressors have slightly different settings, and I also have a whole bunch of presets that I've made for each different one. I don't know if you can tell, but I like having presets and templates. It keeps everything organized and really saves you time in the long run. So as you go through, you'll see I also have bass, which you can also group these and put on a common plugin for those as well. So I usually like to put a little bit of saturation on my basses because it helps the bass come through when you're listening on smaller, like iPhone or smaller speakers in general. So I just put on Saturn II and add a little bit of saturation. But same thing with the sub bass and the more high-end bass. I'll EQ those. Usually high-end bass cut out some of the low so it's not overlapping the sub bass, and the sub bass do the opposite and EQ out some of the high end. And going right through, I got the synths, which I use my common synths, saws, plucks, leads, all EQ'd slightly different. Electric guitar, acoustic guitar, and everything that you might want to use. Again, this is really for you to save you time, so just create it however you typically create a song. If you find yourself using an instrument that you don't see here or a lot, then add it in your template. On top of that, I have a lot of buses set up. As you can see on my lead vocals, I have a whole bunch of buses set up. And that's just, again, to save time. Like if you want to have a reverb bus for your vocals, then you don't want to be going through every time you're starting a new song and setting up a reverb bus. I mean, it might not be a big deal if you're just putting on one reverb plugin. But as you can see here, I have an EQ that's cutting out some of the really low end and some of the high end. Then it goes through my reverb. Then I have a compressor, which is side chaining back to the original signal so that it's ducking every time the actual lead vocals are coming in. And then again, another EQ, cutting out some more of the low and high ends, and then even an imager to make it a little bit more wide. That might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to set up. Yeah, if you don't have to do that on every single song, that's going to save you all that time. And again, because it's a bus, you can add as much as you want or take away or not use anything at all. Really up to you. So this is my first tip of 4 things I wish I knew when I started producing. If I haven't shown you already, I think this is an extremely crucial tip for saving so much time. And beyond saving time, it'll help you keep your sound consistent. It'll keep your mixing consistent. And I think all of that aids to creating your own individual sound as an artist, which, as you know, is super crucial in this kind of industry. Creating a sound that is unique to you as an artist. So I hope this was helpful for you, and if you liked what you saw, make sure to hit a like and subscribe and come back next week because I'll have tip number 2 for you, and I'll see you then.